We have now learned that the shooter in yesterday's Navy Yard mass shooting was Aaron Alexis, 34 years old. He has been named as the armed gunman who opened fire at the Washington Navy Yard, killing 12 and injuring up to 15 more. Those are the latest numbers I have. He's reported to have used an AR-15 assault rifle, not surprising at all. He was also armed with a shotgun and handgun. SWAT teams fought what was, I guess, being described as a heavy gun battle and eventually did shoot him dead. Alexis had served in the U.S. Navy for almost 4 years before he was discharged in 2011 for misconduct. He had been awarded 2 medals during his military service, Lewis, and it's been reported he was kicked out of the Navy because of an arrest for discharging his own gun in 2010, and there was a similar incident of a discharge of his firearm in 2004. After this initial police briefing yesterday, where it was indicated that there were 2 other persons of interest they were looking for, the FBI is now reporting that Alexis was the only shooter. They are looking for another person who is just a person of interest, but they don't believe that there were any other shooters. All of the 15 people wounded, so we've got the 12 casualties. Of the 15 wounded, all are in critical condition, but presumably, hopefully, will survive. President Obama said he will hold those responsible who carried out what he is describing as a cowardly mass shooting. He called the victims patriots. There's a report that his father said that Aaron Alexis had anger issues and that they went back to his time in New York City, where he helped in the rescue efforts following the September 11th terrorist attacks. And the shooter's father also told police that his son had experienced anger management problems that the family believed to be associated with PTSD. He did have a secret clearance, Lewis. He was assigned to start working at the Navy Yard in question as a civilian contractor with a military-issued ID card, according to his firm's chief executive and what they said to Reuters. Was the background check so superficial, Lewis, that they didn't realize he had this past, or did they? And this doesn't disqualify you from having a secret clearance? I ask that rhetorically. I know that this type of record, these 2 incidents with the guns, would disqualify you, presumably, from having a secret clearance. What do you think went wrong here?
Hard to say. I mean, I guess maybe it depends on the clearance. This could have just been a low security clearance, maybe not on a high level. So I think in that case, maybe the firearm discharge thing might have slipped through. And I mean, the PTSD thing, well, he wasn't officially diagnosed with that, right?
No, and we're going to talk about that. That's the next thing I want to talk about. But before we get to that, the gun enthusiasts, I'm told it's not polite to say the gun nuts. The gun enthusiasts are saying right away, this incident has nothing to do with guns, which I think is completely absurd. We can have conversations about many aspects of firearms usage, but to say that the incident has nothing to do with guns is downright idiotic, and it makes no sense, and it is a complete distraction. But what I am realizing is that there will never be a mass shooting that is horrific enough, lethal enough, or tragic enough to curb this insatiable appetite for firearms that exists in certain areas of the country. Because, Lewis, we've had many children killed at Sandy Hook. We've had this incident on a military facility. We've had individual handgun shootings in places all over the country. It doesn't matter what the configuration is. There will never be anything that will change the view that these incidents only prove that we need even more guns. In fact, these types of incidents, not only do they bring up discussions of gun control, but they serve to activate those who are so afraid anytime a gun is used in the commission of a crime that their guns will be taken away, that it creates even more deadlock. And I just don't see the insatiable appetite for guns changing in any way except getting stronger.
Right. I mean, is it that they actually care about the Second Amendment and their interpretation of it, or are these just people who are terrified that they're going to lose their precious guns?
No question about it. It is the latter. And by the way, in addition to all the discussion about guns that's completely just bogus on social media and blogs and all over the place, The naivete and arrogance of all of these individuals who think that they know how to properly secure naval bases. People all of a sudden are experts in anything. Around the time of the Obamacare Supreme Court decision, everybody was a constitutional expert. Now everybody, people who have never even been on a naval yard, on a naval base, at a naval yard, are experts in securing naval bases. Social media is a fascinating thing.
It's excellent, Dave. It's an excellent thing. It's one of the most incredible advancements we've ever made. Unfortunately, it's a two-way street. It's also one of the most horrific outlets
Yeah.
for people who we're talking about here.
A double-edged sword.